What do you think he did well in that third match?
I thought his guard retention was excellent. I think, however, that people were underplaying the degree to which Gordon was using pace as a weapon. And Gordon didn't really put much physical pressure on until the 30-minute mark. And then you saw quickly the momentum shifted quickly once Gordon decided to apply pressure. So I thought both Gordon and Felipe did a very good job of not applying pressure too early. But somewhere around the 20-minute mark, Felipe was starting to get the sense that his energy reserves were going down faster than Gordon's energy reserves were going down, and that he had to go in either one of two ways: draw it out as long as possible. That's not really going to help, because it just goes until someone taps, or make a decisive attack now and try and end it. And I think he went with the decisive attack. I like that. I like his attacking spirit. But it cost him in terms of energy expenditure, and he wore out shortly around the 35 to 40-minute mark.
And could you kind of break down how the match finished, or from your perspective, just kind of what happened?
Yeah, well, it was complicated by the fact that I think around I may be wrong about this, but I think it was around the 25-minute mark, there was an ambiguous moment where Felipe seemed to ask for the end of the match. Like he wanted to walk off. And then, rather surprisingly, the match was resumed. But that, to be honest, I think that was actually the pivotal moment of the match, because it was like someone at the poker table showing the hand. And once Gordon saw he was ready to quit once, that tends to embolden the opponent, and whatever energy reserves they have get bolstered as they see their opponent tiring. And it was obvious at that point that Felipe was uncomfortable, and that the match in his own mind wasn't going the way he intended it to go. And I think that lifted Gordon's spirits and brought Felipe's spirits down. And there was a sense in which, once people in the audience saw that, they were thinking, okay, we can see where this match is going to go. And now it just became a question of time. So I do think that was a big factor in the match. I do think that Felipe will be much more secretive in how he's feeling inside this time, and not make it obvious through body language or what have you, to hide his cards, so to speak. So I think he won't be making that mistake again.
I assume that you've kind of been Matt's side for thousands of jiu-jitsu matches. Was this one any different?
They're all different from each other. Each one is a unique challenge, but I know this one meant a lot to Gordon. He had essentially the two biggest events of his life back to back. One was overcoming someone who most people see as his nemesis, and the other was ADCC, the biggest event in grappling history, and they were more or less back to back. So I know he had a lot emotionally invested in this. It was something that he had wanted to do for a long time, had been pushing for it for a long time, and it had always been this great question. Gordon has many detractors, obviously, and they all basically said the same thing, which is, okay, you might be good, but Pena is better. And so there was always this charge that, okay, you're good, but there's a guy out there that's beaten you twice, and until you deal with that, you're not who you think you are. So there was a lot from Gordon's perspective writing on this. I think the third match takes a lot of that heat off Gordon now. People have seen, okay, he's obviously improved a lot in the time since those previous two matches. And so now it comes from a very different perspective. Both guys have shown in the past that they're capable of defeating each other. Both guys put on a solid display that night. It wasn't an easy match for either one of them. So they're evenly matched, even after all these years. So I think it created a really interesting backdrop for this fourth match, because there's some intangibles thrown in there. Like, how much did the passing away of Leandro Lo affect Felipe? I know there's back and forth on this. Some people think it didn't have any effect. Some people think it had a huge effect. And the only way to answer it, of course, is a fourth match. So yeah, there was drama before and during the match, and all of that aids in speculation as to what's going to happen in this fourth one.